If you have the urge to just sell everything and travel the world, or have already done it, then this video is for you. Many people who leave abuse experience something strange. Even when life becomes stable or successful, they suddenly feel the urge to leave everything behind and start over somewhere else, or just keep traveling. I know this because I went through it myself. I left my high-paying job in computer programming to go live on an island for 7 years. After that, I left again and backpacked the world for several years before eventually returning to a more stable living situation. It took me a long time to understand why I felt such a strong need to do that. You might think it is just needing a break, seeking adventure, or wanting a fresh start. I told myself I wanted to live life fully and see the world. And while that sounds logical, there are actually deeper reasons driving this urge to travel. In this video, I want to explain what is really going on psychologically and how understanding it can help you make better decisions and avoid some of the mistakes people often make when they suddenly leave everything behind. So here is what is actually going on. Many people have a desire to move to a new location or explore the world after leaving an abusive relationship or a toxic family dynamic. This is especially true after you have found some stability and success, which can be incredibly confusing when you want to leave a successful career or stable job and sell everything to go backpack the world. This happens because of the effects of abuse on our minds. If you were in a controlling situation where you were constantly told what to do and how to feel, and you finally get out, the nervous system and decision-making system in the brain tend to swing strongly toward reclaiming control. Selling your belongings, traveling, or backpacking often symbolizes to the brain that no one controls you anymore and that you decide where to go and what to do every day. Traveling also reduces the ties pulling you back to your old environment and limits contact with controlling people. This allows you to rebuild autonomy on your terms. A second reason that often goes with the first is that when we are in an abusive relationship with constant control or criticism, we either do not develop our own identity fully or suppress it. This is actually one of the major reasons people want to travel after abuse, to discover themselves. Travel allows you to be put in unfamiliar environments where you can discover your likes and dislikes, your strengths and weaknesses, as well as your values. You learn more about yourself, and it can be incredibly rewarding, as well as boost your courage and confidence in yourself and your abilities. A surprising reason to travel is to feel safe. You decide where to go and stay and who to interact with, and if something is not right, you just move. This can help with healing and regulating your emotions and nervous system. For many people, distance from the environment where the abuse happened reduces triggers and allows the brain to relax for the first time in a long while. So, while we often think it is about adventure, making a fresh start, and living life fully, the deeper reasons are rebuilding your identity, becoming independent, and forming personal values separate from others. We want to figure out who we are. So if travel allows us to discover ourselves, what's the problem? There is nothing wrong with traveling the world, and I would do it again if I was in the same situation. But when people travel after leaving an abusive environment, there are two fundamentally different ways they do it. The first is the healthy way, where travel is purposeful and self-directed. They seek out places and activities that allow them to explore themselves, as well as test their limits and boundaries. They set personal challenges, develop new skills, and gradually push their limits. There's also a lot of self-reflection, often through journaling, tracking emotions, and noticing triggers and limits. They have long-term plans with fallbacks and secure income in mind. These people often come back with greater self-trust, clarity about values, confidence in independence, and meaningful stories to integrate into life. Even if they continue traveling, the experience is less anxiety-driven and more fulfilling. Travel then becomes one of their core values. The second way people travel after abuse is when travel becomes all about adventure and movement. And this is what I did at one stage. I just got on a motorbike and backpacked through Cambodia and Vietnam with no plans of even where I would sleep each night. I just went from town to town and explored. This was incredibly rewarding. But the downside is that this way of travel often turns into a means of escape and avoidance. What happens is whenever you face even a bit of disagreement with anyone or don't like a place, you just pack up and move. You start to struggle tolerating even minor discomfort and dealing with people. Movement and novelty then becomes a way to suppress unwanted emotions instead of learning how to deal with emotions in a healthy way. The focus also turns to constant travel instead of self-discovery and self-reflection that fuel internal growth. A major drawback is that with constant travel, there is little time for actual healing. This can result in you returning after your travels and nothing internally has changed, as you did not actually address the trauma, rebuild identity or independence, or learned much about yourself. So the desire to keep traveling is still there and may become stronger, often without you knowing why. Constant travel can also become incredibly lonely, as well as limit income possibilities if you have been out of the market for a long time and did not plan ahead. So how do you make sure you actually discover yourself on your travels and do not just run away from your emotions? The first is realizing that you do not need to sell everything and move to a different country or backpack the world. It is okay if you want to, but you can discover yourself by just traveling locally. This is what I eventually learned, and it helped me a lot and can be valuable for you as well. Regardless of how you travel, keep some stability by having savings, fallback options for income, as well as looking ahead and seeing how travel will affect your options in the future. Will you still have time to marry and have children? Will you be able to rebuild a career? And for how long do you want to travel? At least every 6 months or so, re-evaluate why you still travel, what it means for you to continue traveling, and what you still aim to get out of traveling. Learn about yourself by reflecting regularly on your thoughts, emotions, and beliefs. Journaling and meditation will allow you to discover your values, your underlying motives, and see how the way you make decisions and evaluate risk changes over time. Combine travel with challenges that teach you about yourself, such as volunteer projects, solo adventures, learning new skills, and doing activities that force you to re-evaluate life and your beliefs. Another helpful practice is setting small personal goals in each place you visit, so travel becomes a process of growth rather than just movement. Lastly, and this is important, slow down. I was at first not happy unless I was doing Mach 10 with my hair on fire, but I realized I needed to give myself time to integrate experiences. You don't need to stop traveling, but instead of constantly moving, try what I eventually did. Stay for a few months to a year in a place to fully immerse yourself in the local culture. This allows you to test many new things and discover what you like and don't like from every place you visit. At the end, you will become a person with immense depth, with rich experiences and deep wisdom. You will also understand yourself far better than most people, which will allow you to face life with more confidence and calm. Something that often happens with people who leave an abusive environment, which is incredibly important if you travel, is that people struggle to budget or work with money. This is not about being bad with money, but about how trauma can change how you see and use money. This can cause problems for you, as it did for me, where you budget exactly your trip, only to realize 5 months in, you have already used 2 years of savings. If this is something that resonates with you, watch this video next. Thank you for watching.